Still no real credits.
Nope.
The song's
No.
going fine. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Rewatchers Council live, Adelia.
Mm-hmm.
This what I didn't even know what date it is. August something, 2021.
15th,
Yeah,
2024.
I was trying to make them think that maybe they screwed up or something like that. It's like they fell asleep and then woke up in the past, just like these guys.
I don't think anyone wants to go back to 2021, Snark.
These guys go back to 1955, sort of.
That's true.
Sort of.
Sort of.
We'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So we will be talking about I Only Have Eyes for You. Second season, grinding to a. I won't say grinding to a halt. I wouldn't say that's fair. This was a good episode though.
Yeah.
I think a story about the episode is maybe more important than this episode, but the episode's fine. Much better than the one last week, and much better than the one coming up. So, so the original air date for this one, April 28th, 1998.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember it. Written by Marty Noxon. It's directed by James Whitmore Jr. And it's the first one of 5 this guy is going to direct. He's also directed for 90210 and 21 Jump Street. Your favorite, of course, NCIS. I mean, Ferris's favorite. And Dawson's Creek. Now, from the last episode to this, some reason there was a 7-week gap. I couldn't find out why. It's not like the WB really would have had like the Olympics, and the Olympics doesn't run for 7 weeks. But if
and they're not in April.
Yeah. So if you're ever wondering why Buffy had a hard time gaining traction, because it had no one could ever predict when it was going to be on. So the number one movie, again, we've been gone for 7 weeks. The number one movie, not Titanic. In fact, yes, it's not Titanic. It's Reign of Terror. It's over. It was beaten by Lost in Space, Adelia. Okay. Lost in Space is the movie that took out Titanic. It only lasted for a week, and then that City of Angels was number one for a couple weeks.
I remember that one.
Sure. I think the soundtrack was. I remember the soundtrack.
Soundtrack was pretty good. Yeah.
Now, the new number one movie this week, and I remember the title, and I remember a couple of people that were in it, but I have no idea what this movie was about. The Big Hit. So,
I don't know this movie at all.
The Marky Mark movie with Lou Diamond Phillips and Christina Applegate.
That's an eclectic cast.
Yeah, it's you those guys would probably be on a sitcom these days, I would imagine. So, well, maybe not. Well, not Marky Mark's still doing fine. Okay, so the number one song in the United States of whatever is down there, classic. Oh, it's America, right? A classic, Adelia. It's Too Close by Next.
I remember that song.
Fantastic song. Speaking of classics, another banger. The UK. It's Like That. The Run DMC versus Jason Nevins mix. That's so good. If you don't know that one, you probably know
that one.
You know that one if you heard it.
Not by name. I'd probably know it if I heard it. Yeah.
That one, if you heard it, you'd know it right straight away. And now, in Canada, the song was the number one song of the year in Canada. Still immensely popular, I would imagine. For 12 weeks on and off, the song was number one in Canada. Okay. I guess we liked Australians. Natalie Imbruglia's Torn, the number one song.
That was a very big song.
Huge song. Especially April 28th, 1998. Now, down to the DVD synopsis. I know you've been waiting. Sunnydale High School is haunted by the ghosts of a former student and teacher who reenact the tragic romance through the bodies of the school's current inhabitants.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Well, one of them isn't. I wouldn't say a current inhabitant. I guess.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but mostly mostly accurate.
right. Okay. So, starting out at the bronze again, Adelia. It's running a little
Bronze.
late in the year. These 17-year-olds need to go get hammered to take the edge off of upcoming finals and stuff like that. So they got a band play.
Finals probably weren't for another month, to be perfectly honest.
Maybe they were scared. This is how they dealt with
Yeah.
it, by going to a live band playing at the Bronze on what I would assume would be a weekday. So the band's called Splendid, and
Okay.
I'm just gonna what's the song called? The song called Charge. It's neither here nor there. It's not a great song. The lead singer of that band does not look excited about playing that song at all.
No.
But to be fair, they probably had to do this a couple of times or whatever. So maybe she's
Yeah.
bored of her own song by then,
Multiple
because it's
takes.
it's slow. Like
Yeah.
every song, every time they go to the Bronze, except for it's like Dingo 8 might be even them a couple of times this year or in the series, gonna be slow. It's like ugh. Well, the 90s, they're slow
Yeah.
jams. Anyways, Buffy's hanging out by herself, in the balcony and stuff like that. She's being still sad over all the things that have happened because, she couldn't take out Angel because of that stupid idiot curse that makes no sense at all. So a guy comes to hit on her. None. This guy, his name Ben Straley, they go to class together. Ben Straley, let's see, what was his name? Ryan Tazrak was this guy's name. And you know how I always say, every teenager in the show looks like 30 years old or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy, again, looks 30 years old, but he's actually 19. So this guy actually kind of fits. He was actually younger than SMG at this time. Anyways, Buffy says, nope. No, not only I'm going to not date you, she's not dating again ever, she says.
We'll see how that holds up.
Yeah, we'll see. And then I write a little note because they go back to the band Splendid, and the guitar player looks like he's wearing like either a shag carpet or he murdered and skinned a Muppet to wear as a sweater. That may be the ugliest thing I've ever seen on that show. It's terrible. Poor Muppets. Anyways, you should never use a Muppet as clothing. I've said that. If I've said that once on the show, I've said it 100 times, Adelia. So
okay.
Buffy's leaving. Willow's a little disappointed. Again, she says she's been all work and no play Buffy lately, Adelia. She wants Buffy to get back on the dating track. Willow's acting like a big shot now. She's got a, rock, I wouldn't say star, guitarist boyfriend, a musician boyfriend. She says that all these problems, isn't love's fault. She says that love can be a nice thing, Adelia. And then we cut to Sunnydale High School, and once again, seems to be rather late at night with students milling about. This time, there's a young couple having would seem a heated argument. She's telling him that it's over. He can't deal with it. He yells at her that, come back here, you bitch. All of a sudden, he has a gun. He tells her love is forever. And then, the credits roll. Okay, so Buffy, for some reason, she has to go back to the school to tell Giles that she's going to finish up patrolling for the night.
Yeah, don't get that one.
They have phones. They may not have had, regular phones. Also, why is Giles always working so late? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Giles ever sleep?
He has his own house, or his apartment. We've been there. We've seen it before. Yeah. Maybe there's some bad memories. Sure. Maybe his girlfriend was recently murdered and placed there for him to find. Sure. But still, that was weeks ago now. It's time get over. It's better than hanging out at school with a bunch of kids. Anyways, Buffy comes upon these two kids fighting, and she absolutely tears in to the guy, knocks the gun away, beats the hell out of him for a little bit, then flips him. He does like 3 flips in the air, lands, and has no idea what's going on. So she says, he says, what's happening? What's happening? She tells him, you almost OJ'd your girlfriend, which is a nice reference for 1998, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nice reference for 1998, I guess.
He said that they weren't even fighting a minute before. The girlfriend, backs her up. There's a janitor there that shows up a little bit late. He was there in the hallway, like just around a corner from them. He let all this play out. Just let a couple students run around, yell at each other. It's like he tells her he's going to kill her and stuff like that. Well, that guy is played by John Hawkes. I don't know if you recognize him at all, Adelia, but
no.
He's done a lot of work. Academy Award nominated.
Okay.
He was up for Best Supporting Actor in that. What was that movie? Winterbone. I wanted to say Winterbone.
Oh, okay.
And he was in that. Right. He was in Jodie Foster's recent season of True Detective.
Okay.
Or that. Anyways, he's one of those faces or whatever you see. It's like I've seen all the time. It's like, oh, I know that guy. At school next day, good old Principal Snyder. He's working.
Finally back.
Yeah, he's back for the first time since What's My Line Part 1.
That's crazy that he's the principal. All this stuff is happening, and we just haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's hiring students as teachers. It's crazy. Anyways, he's there to blame Buffy to blame Buffy for the events of the night before. Somehow, that guy getting awful angry at his girlfriend is 100% her fault. He tells her that he's a truth seeker, Adelia, which is noble. Turns out that gun's missing. They never found it, and those 2 kids are 2 pieces of a puzzle, which he will solve to find out that Buffy is surely responsible for all this. Then gets called away to get to deal with a chained up vegan, a low life vegan.
It should not have made me laugh, but it made me laugh.
Why is it that a vegan would chain himself to a
snack machine?
A snack machine, unless it's like full of jerky or something like that. Like the only thing they have are hunks of meat.
Yeah,
you can get
no idea.
They have like that snack they used to have in the 90s. Old liver. I don't remember that snack at all. I think that's a little bit made up. Anyways, he tells Buffy to stay anyways. So she does, which is nice. And then a yearbook pops out of nowhere, which she seems fine with. Even though Snyder's already gone, and she looks up, it's 1955's yearbook, Adelia. Which was in the bookshelf for some reason. I don't know. So we do see that Willow is still teaching that class.
Yeah.
Her school must have the most lax union in the world. Just not only are they allowing scabs to come in, but students, teachers, are they even paying her? They never say. Anyways, Giles stops by the class or whatever. He says that Willow has things under control, and she tells him, she had good lessons plans because Jenny had laid out all the lesson plans before, and she said, he has a little bit of that Giles smile and stuff like that, just whatever. Then she starts mentioning that she's been on the internet there and has found a whole bunch of pagan sites and all those things. Paganism, magic stuff. She's finding that stuff very interesting for some reason. And also
foreshadowing.
Well, maybe we'll see. Maybe it means nothing. And she also has this rose quartz that Jenny had just lying around in her desk and stuff like that. It's just, it has healing powers, and I'm sure that Jenny wanted you to have this. And also, I want to mention about Giles in this one. Like, Giles stammers, but I think he stammered every single line he said in this. Like, he had, like, it's more than just being English. I think it might be a speech impediment. I don't think they ever get into it. Anyways, Tony had, I thought, did a very good job in the scene. He seemed attentive, a little distracted the whole time. I enjoyed it, anyways. He thanks her for the crystal. He gets out of there. Then we get another class. Buffy's in it. It's history class, probably,
This
because
class is when I realized I remember this episode very vividly.
yeah. So I'm saying I think it's either history or economics they're going through. Again, I think the New Deal. I think when they're talking on the show, they're
I
talking
think
about the
that's
New
more like
Deal.
history.
Yeah. Uh, so, anyways, Buffy immediately falls asleep, which is on brand, and dreams right away. Now, I don't know. I'm not a sleep therapist or anything like that, but to start dreaming within moments, not even moments, as your eyes are closing, is probably not great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's
Yeah.
it's probably unhealthy. Anyways, they got a new teacher there. I guess he's played by James Lurie, who's did a lot of narrating work over the years. Nat Geo. I don't know if you ever watched Ugly Betty, but he was the
A little bit.
narrator. He was the
A little
narrator
bit.
over Ugly Betty. And
Okay.
if you played Red Dead Redemption 2, you'd know him. But yeah, he's done lots of things. Law and Order, Gotham. So uh, she falls asleep. She's back in 1955, and she sees some Letterman guy, some athlete you're imagining, give a book back to a teacher instead of this paper and stuff like that. She asks if she enjoyed it and stuff like that. Guess it's a farewell to arms because she said it was about a soldier or that falls in love with this nurse or something like that. So he starts holding her hand and stuff like that. So it seems like, oh, they're going to be kissing, but a door opens. Buffy wakes up. Teacher's still talking about, of course, about child labor and collective bargaining. That's why I was thinking about maybe this is economics.
It could
But
have been.
yeah, I don't know. I would have fallen asleep by this point too. Anyways, the
Yeah.
students start snickering and stuff like that because on the blackboard he's written, "Don't walk away from me, bitch,"
Yeah.
which is said quite a lot in this episode.
They do like that word in this episode.
Yeah, yeah. Some people give it a little more gusto than others.
Mhm.
He hurries to erase it, but everyone knows what it said. Buffy sees Xander, tells him that something weird's going on. He says, "Isn't that the school motto?" Which I think would be good. If you did it in Latin, it would
Would be
sound good.
good. Would be good.
Yeah. Once again, I just had a little note here. Once again, someone's doubting her. Anytime Buffy ever says something like this, someone's always like, "Ah, couldn't be. What are you? Are you crazy? Never." Anyways, he says it sounds a little Hellmouth light as he opens up his locker and a gross zombie arm grabs him and starts bringing him into the locker. I imagine that was one of your favorite parts of this episode.
It was not.
No.
Definitely not.
Well, anyways, Buffy stops it and they open it up again. There's no corpse arm. So they head off to the library. Xander tells Willow that he was attacked by a locker monster. And of course,
Yeah, that was
Giles,
funny.
Giles pops up a Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. Giles, what?
Yeah. So they tell him what happened in the locker in history class. Giles thinks, oh, we got some paranormal phenomena here, Adelia. So
A poltergeist.
Willow's excited for a ghost. She should, you figure she had a little empathy for ghosts. She's been a ghost before. Giles interprets Xander speak into it being a poltergeist, and that poltergeists are plagued by all kinds of worldly troubles and stuff like that. Now, I thought like the difference between ghosts and poltergeists is like you didn't see poltergeists; they were just more active and thinking ghosts were actual ghosts. But I don't know. Like I said, they changed the rules on this stuff a little bit, and who cares? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So, anyways, it looks like this guy has no way of finding peace, so it lashes out angrily. The only way to stop it, Adelia, is to work out its unresolved issues. But they need to know who the spirit was. So we get a little more late night interactions at the school. This time, The poor janitor sees Miss Frank and asks if she's working late. Well, yeah,
I think
it's
that's a
pitch black.
pretty obvious answer.
Pitch black outside. Plus,
Yeah.
couldn't they, I still don't get like how all these teachers and all these things are there. I would imagine
I
10
still don't
o'clock at night.
understand why the school doors are still unlocked.
Maybe they just forget some because this place is huge. It's about to get bigger, but that's for next week. Anyways,
Yeah.
so Miss Frank is played by Miriam Flynn. And I don't know if you recognized her at all. You aren't as much a child of the 80s as I was, where you remember things like this. Like she was Cousin Eddie's wife in the Vacation movies.
Oh God, yeah, she was, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. She also did like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Bones, Babe. But as soon as I saw her, I knew her from Mr. Mom. If you remember that, he's one of the ladies that he was when he was at home or whatever
I
after his wife
don't
goes away.
remember that, but I
Mr.
do remember
Mom,
from the Vacations.
one of the most overlooked movies of the 80s. It was fantastic. Honestly, I think I saw it like 10 times. Even when I was a kid, I thought it was great. Anyways, she apologizes and asks if she could walk through because he's mopping the floor. He says, "Go ahead, drive safe." Then he also says, "You can't make me disappear just because you say it's over." Ideally.
We're redoing this again. Okay.
We're doing it again. So she responds, "There's no way we can be together. No one will understand." He says, "What is that? What this is about? What other people think?" She just wants him to have a normal life. A normal life. Janet being a janitor, I guess. But he's going crazy not seeing her. She says it's over. It has to be. She walks away and says, "Come back here. We're not finished yet." Then the two of them repeat the same conversation we heard earlier, except this time, if we see the revolver appear in the janitor's hands. Giles is alerted by the yelling. Giles's library seems to be within shouting distance of everywhere in the school, as we'll
Yeah,
find
is it
out.
like the most central point of the school? What? Like it makes no sense.
He hears them yelling, and then he also hears a female voice whisper, what does he say? Oh yeah, "I need you." Like this made no sense. In the when it
No.
gets repeated later as well. This "I need you" is like this makes no sense. I have no idea why they put this in. Anyways, so yeah, slowly
I
walks.
think it was just a misdirect to make him think it was Jenny.
I guess so. He starts slowly walking the halls and then sees George aiming at Miss Frank. George was the janitor's name, sorry. Then a gunshot. And she falls over the second floor railing. I guess the railing, I don't know what that thing would be. Anyways, down to
Yeah.
the stairs below.
Mm-hmm.
Adelia, oh my God. George starts running. And Giles tackles him. The gun is knocked loose and fades into nothing. Adelia.
Yeah.
It's a ghost gun, it seems. George doesn't know what happened. Giles just tells him, "You shot a woman." You would imagine he would know who the woman was. He worked with her. Anyways.
I mean, that's a little blunt, Giles.
So we get to see our first look next of Angel's Crawford Street mansion. I don't know how we got this place. The man hasn't had a job in 200 something years. He'll get a job in about a season and a half, I guess, or not even, just over a season from now. But yeah, it's much nicer than the basement apartment. It has this big, huge garden in it. Has filled with jasmine. And did you know that jasmine were night blooming?
No.
I had no idea either. Anyways, Drew loves the place or whatever. Says it's like a fairyland. Spike says, "Oh yes, that's what they need is a garden and large windows. It's just the thing to kill them." But, I get his point. His face seems much healthier these days. And he seems to be recovering from the fire pretty nicely. Now, I don't want to alarm you at all. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to put this out there. I don't think that Spike and Angel have been getting along very well.
No, I don't think they have been. Not at all.
It seems like they're each a little, perturbed with each other. I think that's a nice way to say. Anyways, we go back to the library. And then Giles fills the gang in on what's been happening with the janitor and Miss Frank. Of course, there's been no police or whatever talking about it there.
No.
No. He thinks it's very clear what's happening here. Jenny is trapped in the fact that there's a gun being used is insignificant. It's just the violence of the thing that's going on is all that matters. Will and Buffy argue that what's happening is specific, and that pattern doesn't match any of what happened with Miss Calendar's death. Giles appreciates what they said, and you should always fight back against people who say things to you. But in this case, they're clearly wrong. He's clearly right, which is nice.
He's very wrong.
He's nowhere near right. So Scooby's go to the computer room to discuss Giles' behavior. Buffy just reminds him that he's missing her, then blames herself again. More self-loathing for Buffy. Well, just killed the vampire and it would have been over. But anyways, Willow says she'll look up other shootings at the school. Her monitor, by the way, is not on.
No,
she is a computer class teacher now. She's so good. She doesn't need to turn the monitor on. And it takes like 5 seconds to find out there was a student that murdered a teacher.
Way too fast.
Yeah, at the end, especially for 1998, you're not even hearing the Yeah, they've paid off their AOL account or whatever. I guess pretty well over there. Yep. So it was at the end of the Sadie Hawkins dance, coincidentally. You know what I mean? And it seems like she had just ended their affair, and then he went to the music room directly afterwards and did himself in. Unfortunate. What a tragedy. So, Xander wonders when it happens. Buffy knows it was 1955.
Yeah.
She fills him in on the whole daydream that she had in class. And then she saw the teacher again, Grace Newman, played by Meredith Salinger. Does she look familiar to you at all?
Yes, she does.
Yes. Journey of Natty again. Okay, so she's done all kinds of other things, and she was also a night sister, I guess, on Rebels. I found that out. That's lots of robot chicken stuff, but she was in Daredevil. Does lots of the Marvel and stuff like that. Her and her husband seem to be doing pretty well. And now I don't know if you recognize the boyfriend. I didn't. Like, by the spoiler, I didn't recognize him at all. I only know him from this. His name's, the student's name's James Stanley, and he's played by Christopher Gorham. He was in a show called Covert Affairs.
Didn't watch it.
Yep. Nope. The Lincoln Lawyer he was in.
Didn't watch that either. And
he was also, I think, Betty's love interest in Ugly Betty. So lots of Ugly Betty themed things. So Xander tells her dreams are getting wicked accurate, and then he wants to, weaponize it, when it comes to the ladies. You know what I mean?
An obvious thing you would say when you have a girlfriend.
Yes. So she just ignores him anyway. She just says that he couldn't make her love him, so he killed her. You know what I mean? Willow feels bad for them. Buffy says she feels bad for her. Willow thinks that one of Mrs. Calendar's pagan sites could help them communicate with James, find out what he wants. Buffy could care less about this, Adelia. She just wants him to stop. So we get a nice, lovely close-up of the Sunnydale cafeteria. Got a little pasta going on there, Adelia. Hot dog bin, which is nice. Like, I didn't have any of this stuff. Like, we had a cafeteria at my school that you paid for and stuff like that. But I think it was just like, what was it? Like pizza pockets and fries and stuff like that. I don't think we ever had like a
we didn't have food like this at my cafeteria, that's for sure.
So Cordy has decided she's going to start a boycott of the Sadie Hawkins dance, since the girls have to ask the guys and pay and everything. Adelia says she's got to nip this in the bud before things get scary. And then, of course, girls start screaming. because a guy starts pulling snakes out of his mouth.
Yeah. This was disgusting.
Oh, you're not a big fan of Snake
No.
Getty?
No.
Oh, well. All the spaghetti is snakes now, and one bites Cordelia on the face.
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh about this, but it was very random, I think.
It was
I don't think
very
anybody.
random.
Yeah. So, exterminators start arriving, and so does Police Chief Bob once again.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him once before too. He was in School Hard. He and Snyder start discussing plausible excuses this time as well.
Yep.
They don't think meth is going to work this time, so they they settle on the sewer backed up.
Sure.
The same thing just happened in San Diego, though, Adelia. So what are you going to do? And Snyder reminds them, and this is pretty big news, that they're on a Hellmouth.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what's going down, and that people
Yep.
are eventually going to figure this stuff out. And then Bob tells him that the city council says Snyder can handle the job, but if he can't, Adelia, he could take it up with the mayor. Yes. So as soon as I heard that, I got very excited again, and I did like how Snyder's attitude changed to sweet after that. You know what I mean? So, our first mention of the mayor, of course, season 3 coming up very soon. At Buffy's, Willow tells her and the other Scoobs that there's no more touchy-feely. It's time for the final solution. Adelia. Gee whiz. And which Xander believes and is in favor of nuking the school.
I mean, of course.
Right.
That's a very Xander line.
Yeah, she means an exorcism. I just want to say that. I especially like how he took a second to think about it. Then a big smile goes on his face before he says, "I'm into it." Anyway, she explains that she means an exorcism, and they need to set up a Mangus tripod, and it's in a triangle in the place where Miss Newman was killed. And they have to do some chants and stuff like that. So more into this, witchcrafty kind of thing or whatever. We're seeing the turn of Willow here, I think, a little bit. And so they go to the school. Willow hands them all shoulder blades. Adelia.
Mm-hmm.
Because she keeps saying the word scapula and not scapular. Scapula. So anyways, it's scapular. Anyways, Cordy says it smells like grandpa breath. That smell was sulfur. If her grandfather's breath smelled like sulfur, he was an unhealthy man. I'm gonna say that right now.
Very much so.
That's incredible. Anyways, poor guy. There's, what, Aquafresh just isn't gonna work. If your breath smells like sulfur, there's nothing you can do. Listerine, maybe. So Willow needed to use the sulfur for some reason. They never really say. And then all the doors bang shut. Adelia. So we go back to Angels. Drew is getting a vision now. There's an opening black gate and wants the Slayer. And she tells Angel that Buffy's ready for him now. Spike says he's all hat, no cattle. Ever heard that before in your life?
No.
What an odd thing for him to say. Yeah. Like it's very not British. It's not a British thing to say. Well, no cap. Anyways, whatever. Angel says he thinks the Slayer business is at its end. But while he's doing this, he's got his hands all over Drusilla here.
Mm-hmm.
She Spike is doesn't seem for this at all or whatever. Drew is Drew, and she's she's just vibing with it. So what are you gonna do? At the school, Willow gets startled by Giles. He tells her he believes he's close to contacting Jenny, and then he asks what the smell is. And she says, again, it's her scapula or her scapular. Yes, if she used sulfur in the scapular, and says, yeah. And she says, oh, okay. Anyways, so he has to run along to do all this paranormal phenomena. Not once did he ask why she was there.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
He
or
seemed very preoccupied. Very
yeah,
preoccupied.
he's into himself or whatever. Then he goes, I gotta go get back to this or whatever. Close the door, and all she does is that, okay, good night. All right, fine. So that's the chief showed up at the school or whatever. We saw Cordy sitting in an ambulance there, getting a band-aid or whatever for her snake bite. She said it's going to leave her scarred and swollen. She had wished it had killed her. Delia. Okay. Here we are. Yep. She's in the washroom now. She's removing the band-aid to look at it in the mirror. Then we switch over to Buffy patrolling the hall. Then she hears I Only Have Eyes for You. But the Flamingos start playing. It's a terrific song, of course.
Fantastic song.
It's an all-time classic. The one problem with this song, Adelia, is that it was released in 1959.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you know what this would have taken?
Why would you check that?
It would have taken less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, if we wanted this song, just change the book to 59. It's easy. It's pretty easy fix. Oh well. It was Marty Knox's first year on the show or whatever. So they figured, no one's gonna have the internet in whatever it is, 26 years or whatever. Is that how long it's been? God damn it. Anyways, one thing I want to say is that I really like how they use the music atmospherically and stuff like that. It's like someone just kind of puts the pressure on the record player or whatever just to slow it down and speed it back up and slow it down. I really like that stuff. Just that little octave or two that changes. Anyways, she's watching James and Grace dance through a window in the music room. Okay, so Xander goes to the cafeteria, and it honestly looks like the Well of Souls in there. Snakes as far as you can see. Adelia, which is pretty nice. So Willow, see Willow gets in position on the stairs. When we go back to Buffy, she doesn't seem so angry right now. Then you see them, the two dancing closer and stuff like that. They turn a little bit, and then we see James's lovely zombie face. Adelia, look weird. With the one weird eye. Anyways, they disappear. Cordy tries to put makeup on her little bites here, but then half her face becomes like Freddy Krueger and stuff like that. Looks like it's all burnt. Yeah. She starts freaking out. Go to Willow on the steps, and a vortex is opened up, and is very gradually sucking her in and stuff like that. It's taking it's taking its sweet time to get her down there. Yep. You see a demon arm and stuff like that. So she calls for Giles, who again, luckily, was just in the hall. The hall. Yeah, he manages to pull her out. And the one nice thing thing they added was that he protects her as they fall down the stairs and stuff like that. He goes down on his back and he has it. So good for him. So Buffy's in position where the murder happened. Again, she sees a flashback of the murder taking place, and James in the music room, doing what he's about to do. And then his zombified body grabs her and yells, "Get out!" All right. So before fading away again. So the vortex, and so does the vortex in Cordy's face. One thing about Cordy's face, she was bitten before, but as soon as he yells, "Get out!" and stuff like that, they're gone. They disappear.
Yeah, weird. Very weird.
I thought it was a little odd myself. So Willow then reminds Giles that Jenny could never be this mean. So yeah, it finally sinks into, okay, maybe it's not all about Jenny this time. The bells start chiming. It's time for them to do their little spell here. So I wrote down the spell. Okay. It says, I shall confront and expel all evil. Of course, Cordy has to, add totally
Totally.
confront and expel evil. So out of marrow and bone, in house and home, everything's okay. Kind of rhymes and stuff like that. And then the last word is, or the last line is, never to come here again. I don't know why. I don't know why I just didn't like that last. Like, couldn't find anything to come even close to home or something like that. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't
So
know.
at least it seems to work. Candles all blow out the sink. They hear what sounds like a strong wind start up, though. Oh, deal, yeah. Then they hear a little bit of buzzing, and the halls become flooded with wasps. That would be my nightmare. So everyone starts running. Gang groups up. Buffy busts the doors open with a karate kick. They escape. Then look to see the entire school is swarmed in these bloody wasps. So Marty Knopfson has, just come on to the thing or whatever. She's just starting writing her episodes this year. This is 2 bug-related phenomena that she's done in her episodes
it
so
is,
far.
isn't it?
Yeah. She has the thing, the first, what's my line or whatever. Again, that what's my line part, one of your favorite parts of this entire series so far.
No.
With the bug guy. So we go back to Buffy's. Giles acknowledged that it's James's spirit they're dealing with. He says it's common for spirits to recreate a tragedy. And Cordy asks if Sunnydale High School closes forever, do they automatically graduate?
Which was very funny. Especially Xander's moment to realize what Cordy had said. Then he's like, she has a good point.
And this isn't the only show that's ever brought this up. This has been a whole thing or whatever. It's in this part of, I can't remember what that one movie was or whatever that came out around this time. But that was the entire point of the thing, though, too. If a guy dies or whatever, do you get to graduate automatic? Anyways, yeah, Xander asked what it was before coming back to what Cordy was saying. And Giles says he needs to resolve what's keeping him in limbo. Buffy says he wants forgiveness, and Giles agrees with her. And then he adds, when he possesses people, they just repeat what happened the night what happened. They keep doing this over and over, keeping him in purgatory, meaning he's never going to get forgiven. And Buffy is all for that. She's, this guy doesn't deserve forgiveness. Giles lets her know that forgiveness is an act of compassion. You know what I mean? And it's not because people deserve it, it's because it's needed. And Buffy says that James killed the person he loved the most in the world out of blind passion, and even if he knows it was wrong and selfish and stupid, he'll have to live with it. Then she gets reminded, of course, that can't do that. He has that whole problem where he's dead already. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's when she takes off, and that's when Cordy says, "Over-identify much." Again, I really like that one. Yeah. So
I'm taking a moment to say hello to Brennan. How's it going, Brennan?
Hello, sir. How are you? Buffy does find a Sadie Hawkins 1955, of course, leaflet in her coat. Of course. For some reason. Yeah, she hears a man's voice this time say, "I need you." Mm-hmm. All right. And then she leaves the house. Giles and Willow discuss what should they do next. We see Buffy approach the school. And then wasps clear a nice little path for her to enter. And then, remarkably, the doors had fixed themselves pretty quick. Or the wasps are very good at fixing doors, I suppose. Yeah.
Or they're different doors.
I don't think so.
Big enough, they could have been different doors.
I don't think so, because you see them. I was thinking the exact same thing you were. So you see them running out and stuff like that. When they turn around, that's the same shot or whatever from the 2 shots or whatever. So you imagine, unless you see them running around the school or whatever, then stop at that point to look, which could happen. Sure, that could happen too. So anyways, we get another case of traveling by map here coming out. So Willow enters the kitchen to find Buffy, only to find the poster she left behind. She tells Giles that she went back to the school. So by the time that Giles and Willow had finished up talking or whatever, Buffy was already at the school.
That fast travel in Sunnydale, man.
It's convenient. No one, like, Buffy doesn't have a driver's license, doesn't need one. She can literally get to places in seconds. The Scoobies are gathered outside the school now. They've all come. Giles tells them that Buffy is under the spirit's thrall. and it's calling her, so she can't help it, and it's getting she can help it get its happy ending here, possibly. Willow reminds him and us that it always ends the same, so she's going to get shot, and Giles says that the school's deserted. There's nobody else there, so what are they going to do?
Which, of
There's no one
course,
else to
means
possess them,
Angel's going to be there.
of course. Inside school, so Buffy walks to the trophy case, turns around, and of course, there's Angel emerging behind her, telling her that Wasp could care less about the undead. It's like, all right, sure.
Okay.
And he says, it's you want to look good for her because it's going to be a special night. Buffy tells him he's the only one that she can talk to. Angel, calls her pathetic for that. And then she starts saying what James was saying those 43 years prior. And she can't make her disappear just because she says it's over. Angel says, oh, I can. And then tells her that he just wants her to have a normal life. Now, they start going into that conversation yet again. Now I was thinking about this, and I remember the Halloween episode where they had the one spirit go into Angel, and Angel beat it to death or whatever, and got rid of it. And I was saying, why was it so easy? Why was it so easy for the spirit to go into Angel this time? And I remembered, of course, that the roles are reversed now, where the demon is on the outside, Angel's on the inside. So Angel just probably said, "Well, come on in. What are you going to do?" So Buffy's now possessed by James and Angel by Grace. Again, this scene is really terrific between the two of them. I thought they both did a great job. So when they did this episode, they filmed the things with Grace and Grace and James first, with the two actors, with the Meredith Salinger and stuff like that. They did that first so that the other actors can study that and try and replicate it. And I think they did a good job here. I think Boreanaz as Grace was a very nice touch. Now, when I said last week about this episode, when they watched this, the showrunner got an idea in his head and talked to David Greenwald that Boreanaz could probably hold a show of his own. So this scene right here is the reason we got the other 5 seasons of Angel. And then we started the whole David Boreanaz thing or whatever that lasts for forever. So anyways, we got them talking, and then it comes down to the final bit. Buffy, yells at him again, come back here, you bitch. Or you see them kind of interspace with James, but it's really, you see Sarah Michelle Gellar this time really yell bitch. That's how it's like, that's what's like, oh my God, she had that in her. Anyways. Yeah. Shoots him. He falls over. And then it's time to go to the music room for Buffy. Which isn't good. But Angel's there. Angel, you see the blood coming out, which is weird. He wakes up because, again, vampire. Undead. So Buffy starts playing the record that isn't supposed to exist for another 4 years or so.
That's really funny in retrospect. I'm sorry.
I was going to say something about Back to the Future and stuff like that. It's like, it's not quite the same. Anyways, she starts raising the gun this time, but Angel's there though to stop her and says that they're the ones that should be sorry and stuff like that. In fact, they never did stop loving her, Adelia, and they loved them with their last breath. Then all 4 of them kiss with the 2 bodies. A paranormal light starts glowing from above, and Buffy and Angel. Very
dramatic.
It's incredibly dramatic. Buffy and Angel seemingly whisking the spirits away. They stop kissing. And Buffy whispers, "Angel?" And then he pushes her and growls the vampire growl, runs off. Forgetting he was there in the first place to murder her. He was there to murder her. Anyways, the Scoobies meet up with Giles in the library. Now that the school is snake and insect free, school can be reopened, much
Oh
to the
yeah,
delight of
I'm sure they're
Xander
thrilled.
and Cordelia. They're very excited about that. Giles attempts to see how Buffy's feeling. She says that James felt he could relate to her because she was so sad, and tells her now they can both rest. And although she can't understand why Grace would forgive James, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Which I thought was
Mhm.
all right.
Yeah,
Just to say,
I mean,
after
sure.
all that, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
That's a way
whatever.
to end it for sure.
Yeah, so they go back to Angel's place. He's in the garden now, once again, scrubbing his face with water. Now, I don't know if it's like from a poor water feature or like there's a broken pipe or something like that, but there's a very, weak stream of water coming down
Yeah.
on this thing and on the outside and stuff like that. Doesn't make any sense. Anyways, Spike tells him to ease up and, the exfoliating, you start, after you draw blood, you're exfoliated. And
Hmm.
just says that he was violated because he had love inside him. And Delia.
Sure.
And then decides he needs to get a real vile kill to wipe it out of his system. So Drew tells him they're going to find themselves a nice little toddler.
That was
Yeah.
awful. That
Yeah.
was just awful.
She asks Spike if he wants to come. Angel puts the old kibosh on it, saying they needed to travel light. And he tells Spike
Hmm.
to try and have some fun without him. Then they leave. Spike says, "Oh, I will." And the camera pans down, and you see his foot come off the wheelchair step there. And then he
Yep.
starts standing up, and they got the big dramatic, rousing music
Oh, the
playing.
dramatic music in this scene.
And then clumsily, I would say nicely, clumsily kind of kicks the wheelchair away and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm sure they were like they did it once and it's like, we really don't want to do this again. It's fine. So then he ends the episode by saying, "Sooner than you think, Adelia."
Hmm.
The big dramatic. Oh my gosh! So
Just
they
the most dramatic of music.
they gotta be following that up with something special. They've got all the momentum coming from this one. Nope. So the next one they talk, the the showrunners decided they had to tackle the important subject of students taking performance enhancing drugs,
Oh my
Adelia.
goodness.
And maybe athletic entitlement, I guess, as well. But for some
Maybe.
reason, they had to shoehorn this right at the end. So they have all this momentum coming from this episode. And it's like, wait. But one thing we're going to get is a whole other wing to Sunnydale High School that you've never seen.
The
Plus,
largest high school I've ever seen in my life.
this is bananas. It's bigger than a university. So, yes, we're going to see some people that you, of course, may recognize from other things as well. One for sure you'll recognize, I'm sure of it. But
Hmm.
there's a couple more that it's like, okay, I'll see it. Anyways, again, maybe not a classic, but anyways, Go Fish is next week. And
Oh, I
yeah,
know exactly which
at,
episode this is.
at least we'll have fun talking about it.
Yeah,
Adelia, thank you for joining me here.
of
Any place
course.
that people can find you on the good
Um,
old Let's Get Ready Network.
you can find me over on the Highlights channel doing Starting 11 with my buddy Snark here every Tuesday live at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Sure,
Week
Chelsea.
1 of the Premier League is coming up this weekend, and we'll be recapping it on Tuesday. You can also find me on some Fridays on this channel with Ferris doing the open table, but not this Friday because I will be on fellow council member Brennan Mars live
Ooh.
stream over on Page Turners. They were not, so check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And Snark, where can people find you?
Well, you mentioned starting 11 and can't wait for that. Chelsea probably just going to win the Premier League by
I doubt it.
15, 18 points this year.
Are you gonna kill all goalkeepers?
Yeah, that's our secret. We've been training to get them to stand on each other's shoulders and stuff like that. There's no way you're gonna score. Let's see. So yeah, starting 11, and we're doing it live this year, which
We
is
are
also
doing it
gonna be
live
fun.
this year.
I'm going to have fun with that. Let's get ready network after Snark this weekend with Danny. I think, what is it called? QuakeCon. We're going to talk about D23. Whatever else we want to talk about. Maybe I'll, talk about my living room I don't know what we're going to call it in the basement here. It's kind of finished. So we'll talk about that, maybe some pretty exciting stuff. Home renovations, you know what I mean? There's nothing more exciting.
Yeah. Nothing more exciting.
Anyways, that's it. And then, yes, of course, Thursdays here talking Buffy on the Rewatchers Council. And I can't wait for next week. Going to be so much fun. And until then, everybody, on behalf of Adelia, Ferris in Cleveland, or wherever he is,
maybe he'll return someday.
Brennan Marr, I say to you, bye-bye.